Janvi, Pushpanjali, and Aryan, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Thank you, all of you. So, today will be most probably the last Learn the Rope session for English 1 for this SEM. I just thought I'll inform you before the class. And also, if you're still left with any doubts or anything with regards to, say, any content that we have discussed or anything that was discussed during the sessions, you can always write in the forum. We'll continue answering it. If we feel like there is a need to have a session otherwise, then we are open to it. But as of now, we have not decided upon having anything of that sort. It will depend on how much of necessity we feel like about it, right? So this week we'll close with the sessions. This is the 10th session. So usually for a semester we do about 10 sessions for every course. We do 2 courses, and in English one we do 10. So this should be the last class for it. I think I have covered most of the topics that were discussed, except for barring the listening, reading, writing part, because that's for you to listen, read, and understand and do on your own. Like I said in the beginning of the session, the very first session, we mostly take up things that are a little technical in nature, right? Especially grammar or some other theories that we discuss, right? On that terms, I think most of it has been covered. Most of the topics have been taken up for a discussion. But yes, like I said, you can always write back to your forum and let us know if there are confusions or any questions that you still have about any one of them. Okay, so for today's class, last week we had discussed a few, we did 2 things. Basically, we did an exercise on the delexicalized verbs, so that part is done. And as a class, I did discuss a little bit stress in English, right? We looked at the rules, some of the rules that we can use to determine the stress in almost 80% of the words that you see in English. Of course, not every word is going to follow the stress pattern or the rules that we have with us, but they are, of course, some of them are completely left to the native speaker's discretion. And I mean, even they do not agree with each other on the stress on certain words. So we leave that apart. And since they are not very important to us from the exam point of view, we really do not look at it, which means we're not going to give you questions of that nature in the exam. We would only use the ones which fall within the ambit of the rules that we have discussed. So we did look at a few rules, especially the ones based on the word class of the word in question, which is whether it's a verb, adjective, noun, adverb, so on and so forth. And another important part that we looked at was the unstressed vowel schwa, right? The as in the word rise and around and all that. And finally, we also looked at the rules for prefixes and suffixes, right? Certain suffixes, they are, especially suffixes more than the prefix. Prefixes usually they remain unstressed. They don't take any stress on themselves unless in certain special cases. Mostly they do not affect the stress pattern. But suffixes, some of them can cause shift of the stress in a word. And certain suffixes, they do not participate in the stress patterning too. That is, they are neutral. They do not bring about any change. Some of the suffixes, by the virtue of having a long vowel or a diphthong in it, right? It attracts the stress onto itself. That is, it takes the stress on itself, right? So these 3 varieties of suffixes have, that is, first one, when it takes on itself, given there is a long vowel or a diphthong in the suffix itself, or it can change the stress of the word accordingly. Some of the suffixes like shen and shell and all that, right? And certain others which do not bring about any change, which means that the stress on the original word before you added the suffix to it. The stress on the root word is retain, right? And another part was of the verb, that if you consider the word and if you think that the word class is a verb, then the stress marked on verb is it's actually very strong. Like unlike in noun or adjectives, as you see, stress shift in a word that is say a verb likely to move, right? The stress shift is not very likely in words that are derived from a verb, which means it retains. I think the example we looked at was unemployment, right? In that word, your root word is, of course, the verb employ, to which you add employ and, unemployment, right? So you have un and ment. Both of these, neither the prefix un nor the suffix ment brings about any change in the basic the original stress in the word employ, which is on the second syllable. This is also one information that verb usually or almost always takes its stress on the second syllable, right? So this one does not change. No matter how many you keep adding to it, prefix or suffix, this pattern does not change. So we also learned that the stress patterning in verb is a little stronger. Usually it retains it no matter what you keep adding to it in the as a suffix or a prefix. These were the few things that we looked at. Of course, if you had missed out on the session, then you can go back and have a look at it. We've had a very detailed discussion about this. I'm not sharing my screen yet. Okay. I I thought of doing only the activities. So I thought I'll first have a quick discussion and then go on to it. I did do this in detail in the last class. So in case you missed it, you may look back at that session. So we did discuss it with the PPT and all. So that is that. These basic rules about the stress, the one that I discussed, and the one about suffixes, and also functional stress, like the one between the stress on words that are used both as nouns and verbs, right? So this is called as functional stress, which means the word is the same, but the stress on it shifts based on the function it performs. That is, the function it performs as a verb and the function it performs as a noun. For nouns, by default, the rule for stress is that the stress falls on the first syllable of the noun, right? And for the verb, it is on the second syllable. So that same rule is applied to a word which can be used both as a noun and a verb. So say a word like object, right? So when I have to use it as a verb, then as per the rule, your stress goes on to the second syllable because it's used as a verb. So object. And if it's meant to be used as a noun, then as per the rule, the stress then moves towards the first syllable. So object. So object, noun, and object, verb, right? This is an example of functional stress. There are several words, okay, which can be used as noun and verb, and wherever applicable, you will have to use this one. Keep in mind, again, there are sets of words which will follow this pattern. You will also find another set of words which can be used both as nouns and verbs, but do not follow this stress pattern. Okay, this shift between the first syllable and the second syllable based on the category, that is noun or verb. So all I can say is we cannot decide upon these things because, well, that is how it is used in the language spoken by people in those countries. All we can do is try and learn as many as possible which follows this one. And from the exam point of view, you do not get something, any word that deviates from the rules that are discussed with you. On the outset, 80% of the words that you would see in the language, in the English language, will follow the rules that's being discussed. The ones out of them, of course, we do not consider them for valuation or grading at this point. Okay, but you should also have a look at them, and that would be that would come to you only if you listen and watch more of the content that is produced in that part of the world. Okay, all right. So that's it. That was a quick discussion discussion. Now I'll share the screen. We're going to do the activity. Today I will discuss with you three things, mostly from week 8, and that's syllables, aspiration, and stress. Okay. Syllables, one question that keep coming back to us is how can I ensure, how do I know what's the number of syllables? What's a foolproof technique? Foolproof technique is to know the number of vowel sounds. Okay. Syllable is a resultant product of the combination of a consonant and a vowel. Sometimes a syllable can come without a consonant also, which means that the only part that is present in a syllable is be a vowel, okay, a vowel sound and nothing more. Syllables, they are smaller segments, smaller units of words. Several syllables or sometimes say just one syllable, they can form words, right? So from that point of view, syllables are quite important in the process of word formation in any language. Right? It's not just English, but all the languages of the world will have syllables. Some of the languages have a different system. Some do not follow a syllable system, but most of them will have this syllables. So these syllables come together to form a word, right? That's one part. And with respect to the structure of the syllable itself, what is it? It could have a combination of consonants and vowels. Sometimes there's only one vowel sound present, which also tells us that vowels are the most important segment of a syllable. You cannot form a syllable without a vowel sound. And in turn, you cannot have a word without a vowel sound also, right? If you cannot have a syllable without a vowel sound, so obviously you cannot have a word also without a vowel sound. So that is extremely important. The most significant part or segment of a word, then word or a syllable, is certainly a vowel sound, right? And it is this vowel sound then which takes the, when you talk about stress then, right? So syllable, we know when we talk about stress, the syllable is very, very important because it's a syllable that takes the stress, or it is on the syllable that you mark the stress. Now within that marked syllable for the stress actually happens on the vowel, okay? So these are some, a bit of details that could help you understand this concept a little more, you could understand this topic better if you know these things, right? And among the vowels, because we are discussing stress, keep in mind that the schwa vowel that you have in the English vowel system is unstressed. So whenever you have that vowel as a part of a word, please keep in mind that stress definitely will not follow. So it's the only unstressed vowel in English. It's called schwa, right? As in the word, it appears in the beginning of the words like rise, round, or at the end of the words like brother, sofa. Okay, it's not sofa, sofa, right? So that particular vowel, which appears at the end of words like this, no, sofa, brother, or in the beginning like rise, round, go, again. This is what is called a schwa, and it is unstressed, right? So when you're marking stress in the words, make sure that you don't mark it on the syllable which contains the schwa vowel. It will definitely not take the stress, but every other vowel can take the stress, right? These are basic things. And aspiration, you have a rule of, okay, you understand what is aspiration? What is aspiration? It's a physical property of the sound, right? And what is aspiration? Any one of you? Janvi or Pushpanjali or Sarvani or Tarika, anybody can respond. No idea?
Voiceless.
No. Voiceless is different. Okay, so there are several physical properties for sounds, right? Voicing is just one of that. You might have looked at the tips. So from week 1, you have places of articulation, manners of articulation, and we categorize the 40 folds that we have in English based on several acoustic and physical properties, right? And one such acoustic property, voicing, of course, you're right, but aspiration is different from voicing. Uh, aspiration has got to do with, again, it's an acoustic property. Aspiration refers to this additional puff of air that is released during the articulation of a, and this is a very common feature in English. Okay, which sounds take it? Not all sounds would take aspiration. In our languages, actually, you have a set of words, set of sounds that would take aspirations. Like, so for example, say you have k and k, you have g and gh, right? You have ch and ch, j and jh, t and th, right? So you have a sort of aspiration, a set of, one set of aspirated sound is always present for the other, right? A aspirated counterpart is always there for the given sound. Whereas in English, you don't have this alternate set of aspirated sound with each of the articulated sound. You just have three sounds that take this aspiration, right? And those are pa, ta, and ka. Okay, if you classify them, they are called as stops. And to be more specific, they are voiceless stops, which means none of them are voiced. Pa, cha, and ka are not voiced sounds, right? They are voiceless stops. Or simply, if you understand them as stops also, it's okay. Okay. You will have to look back at your chart in order to understand their placement and how the articulation happens. But for our session and for the topic that we are discussing, pa, ta, ka are the three sounds that you find as aspirated sounds in English, right? And there are conditions for this aspiration. These sounds are not always aspirated, or they're not aspirated in every place that you find them in a word. There's a special condition for them to be aspirated, which is they have to appear as in the first syllable of the word, right? And in the beginning of the first syllable of the word. This is a condition required for pa, ta, ka to be aspirated, right? What is it? That it should appear as the first sound in the or in the beginning of the stressed syllable in a word. Okay. So the syllable has to be stressed, and pa, ta, or ka has to appear as in the beginning of the stressed syllable. This is the condition that we use. Okay. Wherever the syllable is placed in a word, whether the syllable stressed is in the beginning of the word or at the end of the word or in the middle of the word, wherever the placement of the syllable is, if it is a stressed syllable and if any of these three sounds appear in the beginning of the stressed syllable, then it is going to be aspirated, right? Get this condition? This is week 8 lecture. If you have followed it, if you've understood, then shouldn't be a problem. But do you understand it now? What it means? Yes, no? Huh?
Yes.
Yes, right? Okay, so that is what aspiration means. No, only with respect to three sounds in English, pa, ta, ka, and condition is that they appear in a stress syllable and not just in the not anywhere in the stress syllable, but in the beginning of the stress syllable. Okay, that's what the condition for aspiration is in English, right? And what is aspiration? Additional puff of air that you produce along with a word as it is articulated, right? All right. So that is a quick discussion on what syllables, aspiration, and stresses. And with respect to counting of syllables, the total number of syllables in any word equals the total number of vowel sounds. Repeat, vowel sounds, not vowels. Don't go by the letters. Vowel sounds. Okay. So whatever is your total number of vowel count in that word would be your total number of syllables in the words. Okay. All right. Any questions, any doubts or confusions, or we'll start doing the exercise? No? Okay. So we'll look at the first question. This is for syllables. Count the number of syllables in the following words. Magnificent.
4.
And what are those syllables? You tell me the syllables also.
Mag, ni, fi, cent.
Magnificent. Okay, 4. All right, everyone else. Okay, 4. Yes, correct. Okay, 4 of them. The next one. How many in the next word? Sorry, could not hear you.
I'm asking, can I tell?
Sure, go ahead.
Automobile. Again 4.
Auto. Yes, 4 again. Right, 4 again. Next one. Drastic. Sorry. Drastic.
2.
2, yeah, 2.
2 disyllabic. This is so the first 2 were polysyllabic. Anything more than 3, any word with more than 3 syllables would be considered polysyllabic. Okay. This one is disyllabic. Drastic. So you have drastic. Okay. Factory. Factory.
3.
Can you tell me what those syllables are?
Factory.
I think 2. Factory.
Okay.
3, I guess. Yeah, 3.
2, I
Which are
guess.
the,
Let's see.
which are the 3? Which are the 2?
Sorry.
Which are the 2 syllables? People, those are
Fact.
telling me that there are
I
2.
said 2 actually. Factory. Factory.
So
Factory.
fact and tree for you.
Sorry, wrong.
No, I'm asking you, is it fact and re for you? If you're splitting the
Yes.
syllable.
Yeah.
We will take this as 3 because see what happens in there is a short unstressed schwa between t and dr. Okay, so it should be actually factory, but when in connected speech, as in when you speak, what happens, since this vowel after t is an unstressed schwa, it is not articulated well. You know, the meaning of stress is that, what is the meaning of stress? I forgot to ask you about that. We kept talking too much about stress. When do you say a syllable is stressed, or a syllable is stressed means what? What's your understanding of stress? No? Were we listening to all this without knowing what stress is? What do we mean by a stress? When you say that a certain syllable is stressed or a certain syllable in the word has a stress, what do you mean by that? What's the actual meaning of the word stress? Okay, rules and all, of course, are technical details. But if you're learning to speak this language, then you should know what we mean by when someone says stress on the syllable, you should know what they're asking you to do. What is it? No idea? Okay, you should, revisit this lecture and see what it means. Stress on a syllable or stress in a word basically refers to, or what we understand by stress is that that particular syllable in the word would be spoken a little louder. Sometimes it is also said a little longer. So longer and louder. When the articulation of the syllable is a particular syllable is longer and louder than the other syllables present in the word, you call that syllable to be stressed. Okay, this is the if you translate all these rules into the physical and acoustic property of the given syllable and the sounds involved in it, it actually means a longer and allocated part, longer and a louder part of the word, right? That is what stress means. Did you know that? Right, if you did not, then you should visit that lecture again and see what we mean by stress. None of the things that we discuss are, purely technical in that terms. We just observe the things and then we have applied the some theory to understand it a little better, that's all, okay, or to learn the functions. So stress is this, right? In the word factory, what happens when you say, because of the presence of the unstressed vowel schwa in the second syllable with the consonant sound t, in connected speech or while you speak, it is not heard because it is an unstressed vowel, right? But it is very well present there. If it is present there, then you'll have to treat it as a syllable, but it's certainly a syllable which will not have a stress on it. Okay, have you understood this part? If you have any questions, you must ask.
Ma'am, can you please explain more on schwa syllable?
I just talked about it a little while ago. Schwa, it is also one of the vowel sounds that you find in English language.
Yeah.
But a basic quality of the sound is that it does not take stress, unlike other vowel sounds. All the other vowel sounds, they definitely take stress, because vowels, like I discussed, are the core part of any syllable, right? Of the structure of a syllable. Takes stress on it, or the stress in a syllable comes from the presence of a vowel in it, right?
So, ma'am, in factory, what is schwa sound here?
After t, you have a schwa sound there. Okay. Factory. After the t sound, right? The second syllable t has the vowel schwa in it, and the thing that you should keep in mind is whichever syllable has the vowel sound schwa with it will not take stress, because schwa is unstressed. It does not take stress, right? So as in say in words like go, you won't have the stress on the first part, right? The stress will fall on the second one.
Yes.
That is go, right? Yeah, because the vowel sound you see in the beginning of the word ago is a schwa sound, and it is always unstressed. Similarly, in factory, you have factory, but the stress certainly is not on the second syllable here, because t has an unstressed schwa in it. Okay, got this
So,
point?
ma'am, is there any number of, I can say, schwa sound is there? Like in ego, it's you gave one example, and one is ch you gave. Is there any more examples like this for schwa?
No, it's very abundantly found in the English language. You can find this.
No,
vowel
because
sound.
how we will recognize, right? That's why I'm asking.
You need to practice more. Okay, that's the only way. You'll have to listen more. When you listen to people more, you'll get it. It's unstressed, and most of the times it's also unheard also. Okay. Examples you can have. There are a set of them, but of course I cannot give you an exhaustive list of these things, right? Because it's too much to do that.
Okay.
But keep out a watch on this. When you look at the Google, if you're somebody who is looking at the Google dictionary, that is the online dictionary. Now, because that's a US-based company, what they would do is you will see something like this. Okay, let me try and show you here. I'll just show you how it works so that you be a little careful about this. Okay, just simply share the screen. I'm going to stop sharing this for a moment so that I can show you the other one. Do you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Look at how factory is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it look like? So in after t, they have put a bracket. See, that bracket is actually because they have given this to teach you pronunciation, right? Because see, there is a audio sign and everything. So that bracket basically indicates that, see, this is not something that you're going to hear distinctly. I'm not sure if I can make you hear the sound, but you can do that on your own. Bracket actually indicates in that condition, in that particular word, that this is unstressed, right? So it is unstressed. So as you speak, you may not hear it well. It may not be very audible, but it is very much there. The presence is still there. Why it is important, why should you need all that, is a little complicated part of syllabification, which is not a part of your course. But just keep this in mind that there is a presence of an unstressed vowel here. Okay, so it's not factory, it's factory. But as you speak fast, when you use it in a word, this is because it is an unstressed vowel sound, you can't hear it properly. That's the problem. But that's why it sounds like factory too. Okay. All right. This part is a little important, and keep this in mind. And do your syllabification accordingly. Okay. Now, next sound that we have, sorry, next word you have is audible.
3.
Which one? How many? 3. And what are those?
Audible.
Yeah, audible, right? Manchester.
3 again.
3 again, right? With the the syllables are?
Manchester.
Okay, good. Then India.
3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, India has 3, and which are they?
In the
Huh. Yeah, which are the 3? I just heard 2.
India. India. India.
In the okay. In the, it's not in the it is in yeah, okay, yeah, it is in the correct. Okay. No problem. Okay, so the next one, pandemic. Pandemic.
Yeah, 3 again. Pandemic.
3 again. And what are the syllables?
Pandemic.
Pandemic. Okay. Next one, traveler.
3.
Traveler has 3.
Traveler. 3. Yes.
Traveler. Okay. All right. Next one, medical.
3 again. Med.
3 again.
Yeah.
What are those? 3. And what are the syllables?
Med.
Medical. Okay. Med, e, and kal. Okay. Fate.
1.
Just one. A monosyllabic word, right? Just one. Fate. Career. Career.
2.
2. Correct.
Career.
Ka and rear,
Yeah.
right? Correct. Career. So ka and rear. Falsification.
Is it 5?
It's polysyllabic. It's 5, and they are?
Falsification.
Right? Yes, correct. Trigonometry. Trigonometry.
5.
Which are they?
Trig o nom
Trig, o, nom, a, tree.
3.
Okay. 5 syllables. Trig, o, nom, a, tree. Okay. 5 syllables. Binomial. Binomial.
4.
What are the 4?
Binomial.
Binomial.
Meal.
Okay. 4. Binomial. Correct. Collusion. Collusion.
3.
Which are they? 3 syllables.
Paul, Lu,
Lu and Shin, right? Paul, Lu, and Shin. Okay. Next, contest. Contest.
2.
Two.
I just wanted to
On
ask,
and test. Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
this word is the example for those words which can be used as a vowel, as a verb and as a noun, right? So the stress will differ.
Contest. For contest. Okay. So, yeah, it can, but we'll have to check if it is something that falls within. Yeah. This one actually, yes. Contest, yes. But again, with respect to the pronunciation itself, the word changes. If it is used as a noun, then you say contest. And if it's used as a verb, then you say contest. Okay, there's a difference in that. So the
So we are not
contest election.
actually changing the stress. We are changing the entire pronunciation.
No, we're changing both. We are changing the pronunciation and we're changing the stress also. So this is
Okay.
that which fits the category of functional stress. The stress changes from first to second syllable if it is used as a verb. But at the same time, it also changes the way you articulate the first sound curve. The second sound O here. Okay. So for the first one, when you use that as a noun, you say contest, right? And if it's used as a verb, you say contest.
Similarly, can we say this for the word content?
No, content cannot be used as a verb. Can it be? No.
No, yeah, but does it have two meanings then, content and content?
Meanings it can have, of course. One saying that you are satisfied and the other is the, what is it? The part which, the ingredients or the significant part of something, right? That is, but just checking if satisfy can content her apart nothing. Yeah, actually content can also be used as a verb. That's right. Both, yeah, content is an example of, they can be used both as noun and verb. So when it has the meaning of it can be used to mean to satisfy someone, and it can also mean a state of satisfaction also, like in content or something. Yes, so it can be used as both noun and verb, possible. In fact, content can also be used as an adjective. There's something that can be used in used as a three different word plus. This rule will apply there. In case you're using content as a noun, then again the pronunciation will differ based on how you're using it. Okay, so O for when you're using it as a noun, and for when you're using it as a verb. Okay, but I don't think the stress shifts there. Okay, the stress shift is not seen. Only the pronunciation difference is what you usually notice for content.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Improve. Improve, next word.
To improve.
To. In and prove, right? Next, yesterday. Yesterday.
3.
3.
3. And which are they? Which are they?
Yesterday.
Yes, and day, right? 3. Scrupulous.
3 again.
Which are they?
Screw.
Screw.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, so which means the foolproof method for you to understand syllabification or the number of syllables is that you look at the total number of vowel sounds within a word. Okay, that will tell you exactly what the number of syllables involved in the formation of that word. Okay, now we look at aspiration. Which one has an aspirated stop? Skill. What's the rule? Again, per, ter, and ka, when they appear in the beginning of a stressed syllable. So you also need to have an understanding of the stress in order to answer questions of aspiration, right? Skill,
No aspirated stop in this.
no aspiration, right? No aspiration in this. No, the ka that you see here is not aspirated since it does not appear in the beginning of the stressed word, stressed syllable, sorry. Kill, kill,
Yes, I guess. Kill.
it does, because
Yes.
see, ka is an aspirated stop
Kill.
and this is a monosyllabic word, right? Available on the, it's on the only available vowel sound, which is E. And ka appears to be in the beginning of the stressed syllable, right? And definitely it satisfies both the condition to be aspirated. Ka is aspirated there. Hill, right? Hill. Next one, hill.
Aspirated stop.
Sorry? I couldn't hear you.
It has aspiration. Till.
It has
Hill.
aspiration. Okay.
Hill.
Same, very much like kill. This one also has aspiration. Hill, right? Next word, speak.
No.
Speak. No, no, does not satisfy the condition of aspiration. Per does not appear at the beginning of the stress syllable, right? Next, traps.
No.
No, no again, right? Again, the same, the second condition to appear in the beginning of the syllable is not, not satisfactorily completed. Next one, ticket. Ticket.
Yes.
Which one is stressed here? Is it ta or is it ka?
To.
T.
Right? Ta, because that's the one which has got the stress. So aspirated and aspirated sound here is ta. Testify. Testify.
It does have an aspirated stop.
Right. It does have an aspirated stop, and that is ta here. In both cases, there's ta, but since the first one also is the one that's stressed, this is definitely aspirated, right? Photography. 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 If the stress is marked, actually, it's easy for you to do. In the exam, you won't get words like this. They'll simply give you photography. So you'll have to do two things. You have to first decide which among the syllable has a stress, and then look at whether, the syllable has got per, ter, ka, in the beginning.
I cannot recognize ma'am in this.
Why not? What is the stress syllable here? In
Fo.
photography,
Fo.
don't you see the symbol here? The show stress, right?
Okay.
Huh? I have put it, it's in the notation is not available in this one. I mean, I did not go to the special symbols part of the word, but that particular thing that you see on top of the syllable to is actually a stress marker, right? Photography. So if this to is the
Stress is
stressed one,
T. Okay. So
Ah.
it is, yes, it is aspirated.
it is aspirated. So it's
Yes.
photography, right? How about photographic? Others, those of you listening, you understood no why this ter here is aspirated, because in photography, the second syllable is the one that is stressed, and it has ter, one among the voiceless stops at the beginning of the syllable. So hence it satisfies both the condition for aspiration. Hence you can very easily say that ter is aspirated in this word, right? But what happens to photo, the second one, the photographic word? Does it have the same sort of situation?
No.
No, it doesn't have an aspirated stop.
It does not have an aspirated stop, right? Why? Because there's no stress on ter anymore. Because of the presence of ik, the suffix, the stress has shifted to the syllable graph, right? And since you don't have any per, or ka, there's no stress. Or in other words, ter is not stressed here, hence no aspiration. Tractor, next one. Tractor,
Has.
tractor. So see, do you have a stress here? Sorry, aspiration here or not? Tractor.
No.
Why so?
Because I think the r sound also comes in between. That's why.
The r sounds also come in between. Yes. So see, this is another condition. If you have a r sound following per, ter, or ka in a word, then again the condition for aspiration is out, right? If you have something like tractor or prank or crate or something like that, whenever there is a r following the stops per, ter, ka, again it becomes difficult for the aspiration to take place, right? What do we mean by it becomes difficult for the aspiration to take place is that even if you try to articulate the sounds with some aspiration, it is not fully pronounced or fully articulated. You're not able to do it as well as you can do with the presence of a vowel, right? Which is why, given this is a physical and an acoustic property, it becomes a little difficult to realize it in the presence of the consonant sound r followed by the stops per, ter, ka. So even in such cases where you have a r sound, you do not get the aspirations on words. Okay, so it's a special condition again. So no aspiration here. What about the next word? Inspire.
No aspiration in this.
No aspiration. Okay, no aspiration because does not appear at the beginning of the stress syllable. Time. Time.
Yes, it has.
It does have. It does have. Okay. Instantaneous. Instantaneous.
It has.
It does have. Okay, because stress is on what? The third syllable, and ter appears at the beginning of that stress syllable. Hence, instantaneous also has a aspirated ter here. Okay. Now, okay, have you understood the condition for aspiration? Right. Keep these two rules in mind, and also the additional rule about the words which have r, the sound r following per, ter, and ka. Okay. Stress. First word, duration. Where will you mark the stress? Which syllable is stressed in the word duration?
Just before r.
Before that is the second syllable, right? Ray is what is stressed, and why is it so? Because you have the
Shen.
suffix shen, right? The suffix shen here. Whenever there's the suffix shen in a word, then the stress is on the penultimate or the syllable right before the suffix shen. Here it is ray, and hence ray is the one which takes the stress, right? This one before ra. Legal. Legal.
The first syllable.
The first syllable, you know, it's a an adjective, and in adjectives the stress is always on the first syllable. Wealthy. Wealthy. Wealthy is again what? Adjective. So stress on
First syllable.
first syllable, right? First syllable. Recommendation.
Before
On
recommendation.
correct. So on day, right? The second last syllable, because you have shin, correct? Now, next one, imagine. Imagine. How many syllables in this word?
3.
Imagine. 3. So imagine. What is the word class? Noun, verb, adjective. What is it?
Verb.
Verb. Where does the stress on the verb fall?
In third, in this
Second syllable. Second syllable. The stress in verb is always on the second syllable. So ma is the syllable that is stressed. So imagine, right? Ma is the one. The second syllable is what is stressed here. Imagine, ma. Confidence. Confidence.
Con.
What's the word class for confidence?
Noun.
Noun. Okay, so stress on first syllable. Confidence. Certain. Certain. Certain is what? An adjective. So stress on
First syllable.
first syllable again, right? Resolution. Resolution.
Lu.
Right? The syllable right before shen, right? So lu.
Yes.
Okay. Amount. Amount. Amount is which word class? What is it? Noun, verb, adjective, amount.
Noun.
Noun. So where is the stress?
Second syllable.
Why?
Mount. It should come on mount. Mount.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm asking why not first syllable?
Because it's a noun.
Noun is stressed on the first syllable. Verb is the one that is stressed on the second syllable. No. Adjectives and nouns are stressed on first syllable. But why will you not do that in this word? Anyone else who wants to try? Everybody can answer. There's no bar in this. Your answer is correct that it is stressed on the second syllable. However, amount is a noun, and any word that is a noun or an adjective usually has to take its stress on the first syllable. But why is it so? But why it is not so in the case of amount?
The aspirated stop ta is coming at the end. So
No, that's also not the answer. Remember this schwa that I told you about, right? So in the word amount, the first vowel sound you see is a schwa, right? Since that schwa is unstressed, the stress is taken on to the next possible syllable, which is mount. Okay, which is why mount, the second syllable in this word takes the stress, even though it's a noun. Okay, this is an example of that. Is unstressed. That's an unstressed vowel. It's schwa in the beginning, which is why no stress on it. All right. Got this point, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next one, monthly. Monthly.
One. The first syllable.
First syllable. Okay. Monthly is what? It's an adverb, and adverbs usually take them on the first syllable as well. Also because, you know, this ly is a very commonly used suffix along with adverbs of manner, particularly. Not all adverbs have ly, but adverbs of manner, most of them will take ly, and ly is a neutral suffix. It does not bring about any change in the stress pattern that appears. So all of this reason put together on the first syllable. Okay. Repetition.
Te.
Repetition. Te, right? The syllable right before shen, te. Witness. Witness.
Wit.
First part, right? Again, ness is an example of a suffix which is neutral. Does not bring about any change in the stress on the base word, the root word. Also, witness is a noun, so on the first syllable. Wit. Excellent. Excellent.
On the first syllable.
On the first syllable. This is an adjective, takes on the first syllable. civilization
Ze.
or civilization, some people also. Ha,
Ze.
ze, right? Yeah, because you have shin and the stress has to be on the syllable before it. Exploit. Exploit.
Plow.
Ploy. Ploit. Okay, ploit is, there are only two syllables here. Ex and ploit. So the stress is on the second syllable because this is a verb. Exploit. Transportation.
Te.
Take, right? Again, presence of the suffix shin. Factorial.
Ma'am, in this also schwa is there.
Which one?
Factorial. Is
You
it or
tell me.
no?
Look
No,
at look
right?
at it. Look at
No,
it.
to. It's not schwa. To is not schwa,
No.
right? No.
No, no.
Not. Okay.
No. Factorial.
To.
Hmm?
Stress will be on to. Factorial.
On term. Correct. Okay. And how did you decide that?
I don't know, ma'am. I just said.
Okay.
Is the sound a schwa?
Sorry, the sound. No, no. It's a. Factorial.
Okay.
See, factorial, the word comes from the
Noun.
no, comes from factor, right? So derived from the verb factor is not the noun factor, it's factorial from the verb factor. The original word is marked on the second syllable ter. Okay. So you can look at it that way, or additionally, what you can do is this IAL suffix, right? This works very similar to your shin. Okay, this is another suffix which takes stress on the syllable that goes before it, right? IAL. Shin and IAL, you will have that in the lecture, I think one of it. You just make a list of these suffixes which take stress before the word, sorry, before the on the syllable that comes before it. So IAL is also a suffix which works very similar to shin, which is why you have it on ter. See this? Okay. So don't forget that. Use the rules to mark the stress. Don't simply go and slide. You know, you're able to do that because I'm also saying it along with you. But in the exams, you will only have them written. So apply the rules as much as possible in order to get it correct. You understand why factorial has the second syllable stressed? Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
No? Okay. All right. Now the next one. Analogy.
Na. Ma'am, in this it's a schwa. Starting is this schwa?
Which word? This word, analogy.
Yes.
Yeah, it is sure. It is sure.
Okay. So that
This
means the
has
second
two schwa.
syllable. Na.
Even Laji has correct.
Okay.
This has two schwa. I'm just giving you the answer so that you understand. Two schwa, one in the beginning and one in the suffix laji. Okay.
Sorry, what is the second one?
Second one is found in the suffix laji. That even that is also a schwa.
Okay. Okay.
So analogy. Where will you stress it? Both of the, how many syllables in this word, analogy? Do you see?
3
Analogy.
or 4?
3. No,
Because
three.
ma'am, should we count schwa also in syllables?
In
We
syllable,
count, right?
in syllables you have to count. Okay,
That means
only
the
for
first-
the stress it is not.
Then it should be the first one is schwa, then na, laj. So one more is there. So 3 maybe.
Again, tell me, the
4,
total number
4.
of syllables is how many?
4.
4, right? And what are they? A, na,
A, na,
ha,
la, G.
la, G. Right,
Yes,
that's
4.
correct. Okay, total number of syllables is 4. Now, which among these syllables would be stressed?
Na.
Na. Okay. This is because the first syllable is a shva, it's unstressed, right? And laji, you treat it together because it's a suffix. No, it's not a suffix, but la also has a shva sound. Okay, that is also unstressed. And y that you see at the end, which gives the e sound, usually that again does not take a stress on it. Okay, by the stress rules. If you have y at the end of a word, then that y, the syllable with y usually is unstressed. It does not take the stress. Okay, neutral suffix again, like ness and ment and a few other suffixes. This again does not take the stress. So that particular syllable, G, does not take it because of the presence of the E, the Y suffix there. Then le, because it has shva in it, again does not take the stress. In the beginning of the analogy, again is an unstressed shva, so no stress again. The only one then, the only possibility you have then in the second syllable, that is na. Okay, so analogy. Only the second syllable is available for us to mark the stress, hence that takes the stress. Okay, understand this? Why we crossed out all the other 3. Get this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. And please keep in mind, I think I did not pay attention much. The LOGY you see here is not a suffix in this case. Okay, don't consider that as a suffix. It's not a suffix, but you can classify them as separate syllables and then apply the rules that we just discussed to mark the stress on na. Okay. Now, family.
On the first syllable.
Yeah. Why? Because
Since it's a noun and also the E sound will be like a schwa sound.
right now, more than that, the only thing you can use here is that family is a noun, and
Okay.
hence it's going to take the stress on the first. So whenever word class application is possible, use word class application. Only in times when that is not applicable, you can look deeper into the word and see if it has a suffix and all that. Okay. Next, ashamed.
She.
Huh?
Should be she.
What is the word class for ashamed?
Verb.
Ashamed is not a verb.
Well, an adjective then.
Adjective.
Adjective,
Yes.
right? Adjective. So where will you? Where does the stress usually fall in adjective?
On the first syllable.
On the first syllable. Well, but will that be applied in the case of ashamed? Can we mark
No.
on the first
No.
syllable? No. Why? Because you have a
Schwa sound.
Schwa sound.
you have an unstressed schwa here. That's why. So
Yeah.
because of that,
Sure.
it goes to the second syllable shape. Okay. Now resign. 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 Where did it go? Okay. Resign is what? Verb. Adjective, noun, what?
Verb.
Verb. So stress on
Second syllable.
second syllable. Yeah, yes. Correct. Then elevate. Elevate. Verb, noun, what it is?
Verb.
Verb. Okay.
Second.
But no,
Way.
actually this is not a word. I'm going to take it off because this does not follow the usual thing that you have. Okay.
But the stress sound in that will be
On the first
way.
syllable actually. On the first syllable actually, but it
Oh,
I
okay.
took it off because it is not following the usual rules that we assign. Okay. Okay, let's leave that out. Execute. Next one. Execute. 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 Oh, this one's also very similar to that verb, but it takes, okay, we cross out both of them. I'll have to discuss other rules with you if I have to. Okay. We'll leave that also, it's all right. But to your information, both of them, elevate and execute, both of them are stressed on the first syllable, okay? I'm putting it out since it does not follow the rules that we have discussed. Suddenly,
It's it should come on sir, but
first syllable, right?
yeah,
first syllable.
sir.
Seriously,
See,
seriously,
see.
seriously, again on the first syllable, right? Both of them are adverbs, and adverbs take, especially adverbs of manners, because of the presence of ly, it takes the stress on the first syllable. Okay, suddenly, seriously, both marked on the first syllable. Okay, all right. Advisor,
Why?
advisor. Why? Because advisor, though it's a noun, it has derived itself from the verb advise. Verbs take it on the second syllable, hence we know that the stress pattern in such words don't change much because verb is a strong, the stress marking verbs are a little stronger. And additionally, the er suffix, no, that is again a neutral suffix. It does not bring about any change in the stress pattern, right? So like ment and ness, ly, er is another suffix which is neutral, does not bring about any change in the existing stress pattern of the word. So second syllable for advice, advisor. What is a subset? Subset.
First syllable?
Why so? Noun, right? That's why. Okay. Invasion.
Way.
Way, correct. Way, because of shin, right? Because of, no, is it? So, it is true. ION is also very similar to the other one, CION. So, yes, so on the second syllable, way. Insect,
First syllable.
first syllable. Noun, so first syllable. Exhibition,
B.
On B.
B, correct. Uplift,
Up.
verb this is, no? So stress on second syllable, lift. So
Okay.
uplift,
Lee.
okay.
Lee. Uplift. Okay.
Comprehension,
Hen.
sorry.
Shan
Hen,
before
and
shan.
comprehension, because of shin. Affect,
On
the second syllable.
Yes. Fair.
on the second syllable, correct. Issue,
First syllable.
first syllable. Noun this is first syllable. Observation,
On way.
on way, correct. Discover,
Second syllable.
second syllable, noun, no? So discover.
I thought it was a verb.
Sorry, yeah, verb. I'm sorry,
Okay.
verb, so on second syllable. Okay, discover, so the second one is stressed. Okay, now next is improvement.
Before meant it should be prove.
It's not because it is before meant. Meant is a neutral suffix. It does not bring about any change. But because improvement comes from the verb improve,
Yes.
and it is stressed on the second syllable proof for verb, the syllable stressed here is also the second syllable proof. Okay. Meant does not cause any change in the stress pattern. Neutral suffix it is. Assign.
Second syllable. Ma'am, this is also schwa, right?
This is also schwa. Correct. It's
Okay.
also schwa. Voluntary. Voluntary.
Before Turi, I mean,
Uh-huh.
voluntary.
No. Voluntary is what? It's an adjective. So stressed on the first syllable.
Okay,
Additionally, anything with ARY, right?
that will be.
RY also does not bring about changes in stress, or when they are there, usually it's the first syllable that is stressed. But all of that can take a back seat, given that voluntary is an adjective. It's definitely going to take its the role that you would apply is of the adjective. Adjective takes it on the first syllable, hence voluntary has it on the first syllable as well. Okay. Now, paradox. 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 What is paradox? Word class? Verb, adjective, noun, paradox. It's a noun. Paradox is a noun. So stress on
Should be on first syllable.
should be on first syllable, right? So first syllable is stressed in this one, paradox. Last one here, priority. Priority. You have the suffix ity. Priority.
Rio.
On o. Okay, the one that is right before ity, right?
Prior.
That
Or.
vowel or syllable is stressed, or priority. Okay, that's the one that is stressed. Okay, so a few things. Just keep these suffixes, list of suffixes in handy. The one which causes change in the stress, and the one that does not bring about any change in the stress. That's one part. Then the noun and verb distinction, the same word used as both. Functional stress is one thing, and the other part is the stress based on the word class. Okay. Additionally, be careful of words which have shva in it, right? If you have shva, then that syllable cannot be stressed. Follow a few of these things, and stress would be okay for you. All right. Fine. So I am done for today. So we won't be meeting again for the session as such like this. But of course, if you have doubts, you can keep writing to us and we'll reply. Okay. Any questions you have?
When can we
this?
get a quiz? I mean, mock test, not quiz. Mock
The
test.
mock test, the paper is ready. I think it should be out by the end of this week or something. I mean, in 1 or 2 days, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine then. If you have no more questions, then we'll close for today. Thank you so much for joining in, whoever has been able to come in and listen. I hope this is useful for you.
Yes, ma'am, it's useful.
Good to know
Ma'am?
that. Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Ma'am, a question from graded assignment.
Graded assignment. Which week?
Week 9.
Week 9. Yes, go ahead.
Question number 8, ma'am.
You please tell me the question. I do not have it.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's a question. Before leading a discussion, it is important to.
Oh, this question has come up several times, I think, for live sessions also. Hasn't the change been made? We have already suggested the changes to the configuration team. It should have been done by now.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, first is the ask the judge for permission to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, and second is volunteer to start even if the topic is not fully clear. This part I'm not, ma'am, clear. How volunteer who have not fully clear about the topic, how can he discuss the leading the discussion?
The answer is what? Ask the judge the permission to speak or something, right?
Both are option, ma'am. Ask the permission.
No, both
ask
are
the
options. I'm asking what is the right answer? What is marked as the
right
right
answer
answer?
is true,
For leading a
ma'am.
discussion. Is it not ask the judges for permission before lead the discussion? Isn't that the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
So what's the confusion?
Both two options are correct. For this, I think they correct the questions. Two options are here, ma'am. Accepted answers are two.
Initially, the answer marked was lead the discussion even if the topic is not clear. I think so, probably. I am not clear, but then that was changed to the first option, I guess. The answer was changed to the option number 1, right? No, I don't think it has 2 correct answers. As far as I can remember and I can understand, only the first one applies. Ask the judges permission. No?
But in my portal, two options are.
Really? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll check that. If that's the case, then we'll change it. I do not think it both applies here. I'll confirm. I'll check back with the team and see if that's how it is. Okay.
Ma'am, if first means while I'm watching the video, ma'am said that firstly we have to listen carefully the topics or whatever. Then we have to, if we want to leading, then we ask the judges for permissions. So the important is to listen carefully. Then then we take permission.
The idea is before you speak, you take the discussion. That is, you take the permission from the judges, right? The question is before leading the discussion, right?
Okay.
Listening is obviously a part of it, but if you have to lead the discussion, you have to first then take the permission from the judge, right? That is what she meant in the lecture. Listening is by default. No, nobody has to tell you that you have to listen to the discussion. You cannot participate without listening. So that's a general thing that was told to you. But the main part before you lead the discussion is that you ask the permission because you're going to lead it, right? Otherwise, it does not look very good that you stood up suddenly and started speaking. So to lead the discussion or before leading it, you ask the permission. That becomes the priority then. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. That was, I got it. But other option also they are in correct accepted answers. So, ma'am.
Okay. They are all accepted answers. All of them are accepted answers.
No, all of them, no, ma'am. Accepted answer are 2 options. First, ask the judge for permission to speak, and second was volunteer to start even if the topic is not fully clear.
Okay. This one we'll check. Volunteer to start. I am not very sure about it. I am yet to look at the transcript. If that's the case, then it goes. Otherwise, as of now, it doesn't look very correct to me. But we'll let you know. If there are more confusions, then please write and get it clarified, right? Somewhere, maybe in the forum or something. We'll give it.
Yeah, ma'am. In forum, I also raised the questions and also others.
You've already posted the question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you did not get a reply.
Before the correction, ma'am, I also write about the question number 2, but it is now corrected. But I'm not sure about it.
It was not clear for you.
No, ma'am. About question number 8, it's.
Okay, so are these both clear to you? If it is clear, it's okay. Otherwise, write again. Then you will get a question. You'll get an answer with proper clarification. Okay. In case the doubt still remains. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Excuse
All
me.
right. Yes, please.
Miss, where can we get this previous rope session exercises?
We will upload it because it's the last session. I'll certainly upload all the other things, but you can definitely access it on YouTube also because if you want to watch the session, you can watch it along with that and see the documents there, then and there, like we did it today. But even otherwise, the documents will be uploaded. Now that we're done with the session, all of them will be seen in your portal. You can, I think, check your supplementary tab for English 1 and then find all the materials. It will take some time. Maybe in another 2 days or so, we'll upload. You can check back there. Once we submit, it takes some time for them to upload all of this. But another 2 days, you'll find all these documents. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am, just may I ask something else? Regarding the same graded assignment, in the question number 7, I can read it out. I had a doubt regarding the solution. The question is, which of the following has an aspirated stop? Option A is spreadsheets. Then B is company. C is improve. And
C
D
what?
is, yes,
C is what? Sorry.
improve.
Improve.
And the last option is both B and C. That means both company and improve. So I selected spreadsheets according to my understanding, but the solution after submission says
They're
that
both B and C.
yes, ma'am. So what could you give your opinion? Which option should be correct?
This option is correct because spreadsheet, the sound you have there is per among per turker, but it does not satisfy both the conditions for being aspirated, right? In spreadsheet, look at where your stress falls. Spreadsheet. This is a noun, right? A compound noun actually, and the stress falls on the first syllable. But the problem with the first syllable here is it's spread and it begins with the sir sound, not the per sound. Only if it begins with per sound and has a stress on it will the sound per be aspirated. In this case, that's not how it works, right? In spreadsheet, you don't have both the conditions required to aspirate per is not fulfilled.
Pardon me, ma'am. Actually, I may have not read it completely. Now it says aspirated stop.
Aspirated stop. What's the problem? 3 aspirated stops you have per turker, and in this word it is per. But it is not aspirated here because it does not appear in the beginning of the stress syllable. There is a stress on the syllable in which per appears, but then per is not the first sound in the stress syllable. Right? It's sir. And sir cannot be aspirated.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll
But in the
revisit
case
the
of
topic.
improve, and the other word is what? Company, right? In both the cases, company again a noun stressed on the first syllable, but it has k in the beginning of the stress syllable. Hence, it is aspirated. Improve is a verb and it is stressed on the second syllable, prove. And since per appears in the beginning of the stress syllable, again, that is also aspirated. Okay, which is why the answer is both B and C.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I need to revisit this topic for clarity.
Yes, you should. You should. Okay. Any other questions? All right, then. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in for the sessions. And any doubts, you can write to the forums to us. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
See you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you,
so much.
ma'am.
Okay. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Kunal. We'll start in a minute. I am trying to locate a document. I'll just be back in.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Sure, sure.
Ma'am, the session which is going off Learn the Rope, this is basically for what?
Learn the rope. Oh, that usually discusses the major topics that's dealt with in your course on English 1. Yeah, that's what it is. You cover certain topics that are part of the video lectures in the
Okay,
course.
ma'am.
And we
And
do,
ma'am, the current session which is going on is for what?
sorry?
Ma'am, the current session of writing skills is going for what?
These are all additional sessions. These are done for the sake of people who would like to work on writing skills, and the other one is for people who are looking for additional aid with respect to understanding the video lectures and all that. So besides the live sessions that happen on Saturdays for English 1, we do a few additional sessions like this in case anybody is in need. That's all. They're not compulsory sessions.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Mm. Okay, so I hope you guys have your works ready with you, right? So if you have it, then you can use it while we do the activity. We are going to be looking at the last leg in this, workshop, which is on editing proofreading. Okay, that's what the discussion is going to be on. We'll be looking at that part. I'm just seeing why I cannot share the screen. Am I not the okay, so the video contents for week 12 could already be released. So a little bit of details about the part that I'm discussing today, especially the one on proofreading, you can find in the last video on professional writing in that. So that does not change for both forms of writing, whether it is creative one or the other. In creative, actually, the difference is that you are allowed a little bit of liberty in playing around with the even the basic structure, right? By which I mean grammar and all that. But knowing the editing proofreading part, even for those things, are extremely important. Even if it is, say, a little, you're writing a little bit on the creative side, right? So, which is why we'll be discussing this part for today's class and look at a few activities and your own writing. Because at this point of time, if you're just someone who's beginning to learn these skills, then it's probably not the right time to experiment with the structure of language. Right now, it is contingent that you learn to write well, write structurally well with the rules. Once you have caught on to that particular part, of course, you are a proficient user, you can definitely play around with words, you can work out with the structure, but keep in mind that is again only for, writing that is creative in nature, that is written to entertain or for pleasure, definitely not for professional writing. Okay, so what are some of the elements that one should keep in mind while we are editing or proofreading is something that we'll be discussing today. Okay. Any idea why I'm not able to share my screen and the co-host and everything? The option simply doesn't show me everything to be shared. Why so? Any specific reason for that? Okay, just give me a minute. I'll be back in a minute. I'll just come back and talk to you. I'm unable to share my screen. I need to figure out why that happens. Do you see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I am going to push this into the slideshow mode. Let's see. Visible, right? All of you. Okay. All right. In case if this goes missing, just let me know. I am unable to share it as PPT. Yeah, even I feel like due to screen sharing permissions seem to be locked. I do not understand because I don't have time to now get back to them. We'll do it like this. Okay, so we'll be looking at how to edit, proofread your paragraphs. And the first part that we're going to look at is what do we mean by it, right? So there's a basic difference between how you do editing and proofreading. Keep in mind that when someone talks to you about editing their work, they are actually referring to their content part, right? So most of the changes or modifications that you make with respect to editing is much more about the content that you have generated as an essay or an article or any given written text. Okay. It is the content that the person is referring to in terms of editing, changes made to the content itself. That is making modifications on the topic or what goes into the paragraph as supporting sentences or changing the including sentences, whatever. Any changes that's made to the content is what editing is more concerned with, right? Whereas proofreading is more, it's about more the corrections made on surface level errors, right? So errors pertaining to grammar, errors pertaining to spellings or punctuations, okay? All of these are what constitute the proofreading thing, right? Both are revisions, both include a revision done on a written work, But proofreading is more about making surface level changes, right? But editing is more about rethinking, remodifying, or revising on the content itself that has been generated. So that's the basic difference between both of them. And they go hand in hand, right? So both are important in terms of providing an efficient writer. Let's see what happens in this, right? So in terms of editing, right, one thing that the editor will also keep in mind is the first one. Have the sentences written, then, are they simple sentences? Okay, have these sentences fulfilled the basic criteria in English language, that is of having a subject and a predicate, right? More importantly, subject. There are, there is a tendency sometimes among readers to skip off the subject in the sentence. Now, since this is a very significant rule in English grammar that no sentences can be written without a subject, this is the first part that the editor might be concerned with, right? That is simple sentences. More than simple sentences, look at the sentence carefully and see whether it has got a proper subject or not. Second part would be looking at punctuations, right? These are basic editing proofreading. There is details to all of this, like I already mentioned. What exactly goes into the editing work, what are the different parts that you can look at while you are editing a work. All of this is very, it's done in detail in the video on this, the video lecture for week 12. We look at what is basics, right? What is an immediate, somebody tells you edit this work for me, proofread this work for me. What are the basic things that you can look for? Okay, that is what our point of discussion for the classes, because of course it's a 1 hour session, so we don't have that kind of elaborate time to sit and discuss every aspect. Simple sentences with one subject, the first thing, end punctuations, compulsory, right? English has a lot of rules with respect to how you use punctuations. We know the role of punctuation is to showcase the pauses that we use in our conversational language, right? So to show there is a break, or to show that there is a pause in the ideas represented or in the work that's been written, the sentence that's been written, the phrase that is being introduced, punctuations come very handy, right? Within them, the most important ones would be end punctuations. That is, the punctuations that literally, like the word says, literally the punctuation signs that appear at the end of your sentence. So question mark, period, or comma, or capital letters, all of them, all these are the basic punctuation and punctuations that are that have to be checked while you're editing your work. Okay. Next thing, very important, fragments. Okay, sentence fragments. What do we mean by sentence fragments? Actually, sentence fragments can result in run-on statements. So third and fourth points are related to each other. Okay. What do we mean by fragments? So we were talking about compulsory subject in all sentences, right? In case you end up writing a sentence that is without a subject, then that is referred to as a fragment. It is not a full sentence, but it's a fragment. And fragments are definitely a bad way of writing, right? Nobody would approve of an essay or any paragraph that you have written which has too many fragments, right? Fragments have their own uses, but certainly unless and otherwise mentioned, or unless the situation calls for the use of fragments, one should not use it. One area where fragments are quite important are, cartoons, right? People who write cartoons, they have a tendency to use too many fragments while they're writing, right? And the purpose is very different, because anyway, cartoons are not full-fledged writing. You won't write full sentences in order to represent it. Most of it also comes from the pictorial depiction. So we sort of allow for the usage of sentence fragments there. Another area where you see the prominent usage of fragments is advertisements, right? Again, they also have space, time constraints. So they use certain catchphrases in order to push forth their idea. So these two areas, normally we see excessive use of fragments. However, when you're writing down a full blown piece on something, articles, essays, fragments is definitely considered a bad practice of writing, right? Now, what could be considered a fragment? subject is missing, that is a fragment. Okay, object is missing, that's a fragment, or sometimes the verb is missing, that's also considered a fragment. Any sentence that comes without a proper subject and the predicate is considered to be a fragment, right? Fourth one, run-on sentences. Run-on sentences usually, the example of a run-on sentence is, I will be attending the meeting at 5 and go home. Okay, so I will be attending the meeting at 5 full stop. And as a continuation to that is that, and then I will go home. So instead of writing the full sentence and then I will go home, the person just says, and I will go home. Okay, as a separate thing, right? This is an example of a fragment, but it is also a run-on sentence. It is called a run-on sentence because it is an incomplete sentence which was a follow-up of the previous sentence. Okay, connected to the previous sentence, however, structurally incomplete or structurally wrong. That is why it's called a run-on sentence, right? So both are fragments, right? There are fragments that I discussed with you, and the second one that I discussed with along with the sentence is also fragment, but it is a run-on fragment, right? Because it's a follow-up of the first one. That's the meaning of run-on sentences. So both individual fragments and run-on sentences are considered bad writing practices. Okay. Now, we'll be discussing a few common punctuation errors. So look at this one. Missing comma after introductory phrases, right? Look at that phrase that you have there. Sorry for a typo. Its rains are expected. We have an additional E there. According to the weather report, heavy rains are expected beginning this week. Okay. Look at that first part of the sentence. According to the weather report. Okay. Now, if you look at the second part in the sentence, heavy rains are expected beginning this week. Is this a grammatical sentence? The second part of the sentence, heavy rains are expected beginning this week. Does that sound grammatical to you? Why no? I got 2 no's. Why is it ungrammatical? What's the problem with that sentence?
Good evening, ma'am. Can I say?
Good evening. Yes, of course.
Yeah. I think it should be heavy rains are expected to begin.
No. Beginning this week is fine. Not a problem at all. That's a phrase that you can use.
One spelling mistake is also there in
that is a typo. It's not a spelling mistake.
Okay.
Just something that is phrased in while typing. Okay.
Heavy rain is expected.
No. So you're overthinking. Heavy rains are expected beginning this week is a fine sentence. Okay. There is nothing wrong there. Why I'm still telling you about this is because I want to talk about introductory phrases. So even without that phrase in the beginning, according to the weather report, the sentence is grammatical. Like heavy rains are expected beginning this week is a grammatical sentence. It makes perfect sense to people what is being said. But according to the weather report is something that is used as an introductory phrase to give the sentence, which by itself is not complete, cannot stand on its own, according to the weather report, right? But added along with the sentence, it can definitely be taken in on that, right? Because why you call it an introductory phrase? It cannot stand on its own. And these kind of introductory phrases are very, very common in formal writing, okay? Academic writing, process, right? All of these areas, all the major areas of writing, they make abundant use of introductory phrases. An example of introductory phrase is something like this. According to the weather report, that part is called introductory phrase. To give you another example, say in during the summers, let's say during the rains, Meghalaya is a beautiful state. Or say Shillong is a beautiful city, for example, if that's the sentence you have. During the rains, Shillong is a beautiful city. So now Shillong is a beautiful city can stand on its own, right? It's a grammatical sentence. During the rains there then acts as a as an introductory phrase, just to give some additional information, or simply to introduce the sentence, just as a starter point or an initiator point. For all these purposes, introductory phrases come handy. Now, the point here is with regards to punctuation. When you have an introductory phrase in a sentence, it should be followed up with a comma. Okay. Without a comma, this could become structurally incorrect in writing, right? As per standard writing conventions, introductory phrases should always be, followed up with a comma. That is the point that we're discussing here. Okay. So, do you understand what an introductory phrase is? And do you also understand how to use them when you're writing a sentence? The necessary punctuation marks that you require here. Okay, you're still able to hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So that is one part. Now, second thing is missing comma in a compound sentence. Now, when you have a compound, you understand what a compound sentence is? What is a compound sentence? They are two separate sentences. Okay, in a compound sentence, you have two independent clauses, right, which are joined together by a coordinating conjunction like and or and all that, right? You understand? So, just a minute. Let me switch off this.
Ma'am, you are not audible.